Have you ever wondered why anyone would buy a condo that is not next to an MRT station and has no famous primary school nearby? Will those who bought be able to exit with a good profit to down pay for the next property upgrade? In this video, we will explore if buying a property that is not near an MRT station and a primary school makes sense, and look at examples to find out what is actually happening, and discuss if the new launch, Bloomsbury Residences in One North, is worth considering. Hi, I'm Khai here. I bring in-depth analysis on Singapore's property market to help buyers get a better understanding of the market, and it will greatly help and encourage me if you can like and subscribe to my channel. Now, let's look at a few examples of how a few condos are not near any MRT station and not near good primary school perform. Scott Square, which is in the ultra-prime location next to Orchard MRT station. From this photograph, you can see that Scott Square is just a stone's throw from Orchard MRT station. Just looking at recent transactions this year, we have sellers who lost actually quite a lot of money, and some even lost more than $1 million. There are two examples down here. Another example is Mayfair Modern, which is within 1 kilometer to Pei Hwa Primary School, and it is next to King Albert's Park MRT station. Sellers here surprisingly have low profits, and some only making about 57,000. It is really unfortunate for these buyers who made a mistake when buying into these developments initially, and I hope my videos can help more buyers to avoid these situations. If you need professional advice to sidestep this potential minefield, please do not hesitate to contact me, and we can have a no-obligation discussion to see if we can work together to help you find a good property. We also have very good examples like Key Residence at Brookvale, which is really in a very ulu location in the Sunset Way area. We have recent sellers who make around 270,000 to 621,000 in profit for transactions made this year. This really contrasts with Scott Square and Mayfair Modern. They are in more sought-after locations. Why is this so? In land-scarce Singapore, land is more valuable than the building cost of a condo, and the government carefully calibrates the increase in condo supply to meet demand via government land sales, and they are very careful not to have too much supply to crash the market. Like what happened in 2013, where property price took about 5 years to recover because of the excessive supply here. They do not want the repeat, as falling property price cause hardship and will also reflect in less ideal showing during election. And some land sales are aborted because the government feels that the tender prices are too low. Examples are the failed land sales of Jurong District Mega site and the Marina Gardens Crescent site, where the government felt the bids were too low and did not award the sites. With the government actively keeping the land sales price high, it will also mean that they are actually helping to support the property prices. Therefore, in Singapore, we do not have property that nobody wants. There are no $1 houses like in Italy, and millions of empty houses like in Japan where nobody wants. In Singapore, as long as the price is right, there will always be buyers. The fact that there are ready buyers willing to pay more than 2,000 per square feet for a resale unit in Key Residence shows that there are demand for such condos that are not near MRT station and not near branded primary schools. If we want to look for undervalued properties, we can look at their perceived value, which is what the general public see as the value of the property. Normally for a property with higher perceived value, the selling price will be higher. That's why most of the time the prices of the property will be along this line. The higher perceived value, the higher the selling price. But sometimes there are really cases that fall outside, and this is where the pitfalls and the opportunities lies. We can see in this chart, properties with higher perceived values, like being near MRT station or good schools, like in the case of Scott Square, it has a better perceived value and therefore a higher selling price than Key Residences, which has a lower perceived value and therefore lower selling price, as Key Residences is pretty out of the way. However, when the current buyers bought Scott Square, they bought here at this price. It's higher than what the future buyers are willing to pay. Hence, we see the losses earlier. However, for Key Residences launch, the price is around here, so there's a lot more profit margin when these buyers exit. A property that's highly converted might be here, but if you buy in at an even higher price than what future buyers are willing to pay, we will lose money. However, if you buy a more ulu condo that has a lower perceived value, maybe at the price here, we can make this difference later on the price that people can accept in the future. Furthermore, there are 660 units in Key Residence. The developer will be facing reduced buyer pool, which can accept a more out-of-the-way location, and the need to sell within 5 years, avoid government penalty, and to meet bank loan obligations to sell within a fixed time frame. Therefore, the developer will really need to price the launch at a really good discount from the actual value. So what is a good example of an undervalued property? One example we can look at will be Bloomsbury Residences, which is in the One North area, and it takes design inspiration from Bloomsbury, London. Besides having attractive prices, half the units actually face the Wessex estate, which is a cluster of low-rise colonial buildings, so these units will have a fantastic unblocked view, similar to the unblocked view of Khai residences. Here is a bigger picture of the view. This is also the first project that employs automation on a big scale, where there will be tennis picker robots, common area cleaning robots, parcel delivery robots, and pool cleaning robots. This is also in a high rental demand area, as it is part of a business park and next to National University of Singapore and the NUH Hospital. To overcome this less ideal location away from transport nodes, they actually provide shuttle service to 3 nearby MRT stations, and there's going to have a self-driving bus service serving this area. The main reason why anyone can consider this condo is that the launch price is very attractive and starts at 2,300 XX per square feet, and the 2-bedroom starts from around 1.3x million. How do you know that this is an undervalued entry price? One simple comparison is that we can see the resale price of 1 North Eden, which TOP is 2024, and the recent transacted price is at 2,437 for a mid-floor unit. When Bloomsbury is completed in 2029, it will be a good 5 years younger and they are selling at a similar price. So we can see that Bloomsbury is potentially at a very good price. The show flat will preview on the 29th March 2025. So if you want to find out more details like floor plans, brochures, or visit the show flat, please reach out to me at this contact. Or if you like advice on any other launches, please let me know too. Once again, I'm Khai, here to help you find your perfect home. See you soon.